Okay, so today, class, we're going to continue our discussion over equations and inequalities. And today we're going to be writing a real-world situation that matches an inequality by using those keywords. Okay, so like when you walk into class and I have the sign that says you have to be at least 48 inches, right? Does that mean you have to be above 48 or lower than 48?
It has to be
above it,
48 or above, okay? And then at most 72, or I think it's 78. At most 78, can you be above 78 and come into class? No. Okay, so those are some keywords that we're going to be looking at in our situations today, okay? What is the difference between an equation and an inequality? Equation, inequality. Faith, can you tell me?
An equation is like equal to something.
Perfect.
And an inequality is like less than or equal to, it could be equal to.
Awesome. Okay, I love how she said it could be equal to. Remember the scales that we looked at, the balances? So this expression over here is equal to this expression over here. Okay, inequalities, can they be equal? Yes, or one side could be higher or lower. Okay, what else is kind of important, or the difference between an equation and an inequality? Thinking about how it's graphed. Savannah, can you tell me something else maybe?
Like sometimes when you graph an inequality, the circle is open.
But what was always true when you're graphing an equation?
It's closed.
It's closed. Because how many solutions are there for an equation? One, okay? How many for an inequality? Multiple, okay? Or infinite, or maybe just a few. Okay, so does everybody have the sheet that we picked up yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to finish this today. We're going to jump to number 7 first. Okay, so this time I've given you the situation, and we're going to first write an inequality to match it. Okay, and then here in a little bit, we're going to reverse that. I'm going to give you the inequality, and you're going to have to write the situation. Okay, so let's take this situation and kind of break it down. Okay, it says a health food producer has 250 samples of a new snack to distribute to the mall. The producer has to keep at least, y'all think that might be important?
Yes.
Okay, so let's underline that. At least 50 samples for display in the health food store for product launch. Okay, so they've got this new snack they're about to distribute. How long, here's the question, how long will the samples last if consumers are taking the samples at a rate of 25 every hour? Okay, so remember, where do we find our variable? Where do we find what we're looking for? In what part of this situation? The question, okay? So I'm going to go to my question, how long will the samples last? Okay, so obviously our unknown is some quantity of time. How much time? Where can we figure that out?
In the question.
Okay, but where? So what would be my quantity of time? Minutes?
Oh,
Months?
hours?
Hours. Because they're taking these samples at a rate of 25 per hour. Okay? So I know my time is going to be hours. So let's use H to represent our unknown. And that's going to be our number of hours. Okay, is everybody good with that? Okay, so then we're going to go back to where that important part, at least 50. Okay, that's the tricky one, right? At least 50, that means we really want more than 50. Can we have 50?
Yes.
Yes. Can we have 48?
No.
No. Can we have 60?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so let's write that. Let's do this and see if that makes sense. So we have something over here, an expression over here we haven't quite got, but we know this side has to be more or equal to 50. Okay? Yes, Chris? Okay, you can go grab one right over there. So there's an extra one for you. McKenna, too. Did y'all not have that from yesterday? Did y'all?
I forgot to bring it up.
Okay. Not sure if you're absent or not. Okay, so now let's study the rest of it. So we have these 250 samples. That's what we're going to start with. So I'm going to put that over here. And then the consumers are going to be taking the samples. So taking, that's kind of another key word. So y'all think that would be a subtraction or addition or what?
Subtraction.
Subtract. So we're going to subtract 25 samples each hour. And there's going to be our variable. Okay, so I'm going to kind of reread my inequality here. So this says I start with 250 samples. I'm going to be taking 25 samples out each hour for this whole amount to be greater than or equal to 50. Does that match our situation? Okay, we're good. Okay, so today that's all we're going to do is we're going to write the inequality. With your group, you're going to read the inequality, come up with an inequality. When everybody agrees on the inequality, you're going to write, one person's going to write the inequality on a yellow sheet of paper and then go stick it underneath my camera. Okay? Different? Does that make sense? Inequalities. Okay, everybody agrees that we're multiplying 12 times the number of cars, right? Nobody wrote C is equal to, what is C equal to? Number of cars. Okay, that's okay. Okay, so the problem said we were taking our weekly earnings and we were saving $50. So whatever her salary is, we're saving $50 and putting that in the bank. And we still want to have at least $100 for our spending money. Okay, so this one right here says you're taking your earnings and subtracting from 50. Does that make sense? No, hopefully you're earning more than $50, right? So this one, the order doesn't matter when you subtract, okay? This one says you're taking your earnings and you're adding $50 to it, and all of that is more than 100. Okay, so I like how it's more than or equal to 100, but I don't like how you're adding, because you're going to be removing the $50 and going and putting that in a savings account. Okay, so these two are good, except what's the difference?
The sign.
Our sign is flipped.
Your sign is, and I knew y'all were kind of discussing that when I made you stop. Okay, so remember it said she wants to have at least $100, right?
Yes.
At least $100. So that means she really wants more than 100.
Yeah.
So do y'all think it would be this way or
Yes.
this way? Top or
The other
bottom?
Top.
Top. Even though it says at least, that can kind of get confusing. The tendency is to do this one. But at least means that 100 has to be the minimum. Okay? So this one is the best one. So if you need to make a change on your paper to write the correct inequality, okay, let me just tell you. I'll be right back. Shh. Let me just tell you that this is a challenging task. Okay, so I'm going to kind of give you some hints. Okay, so let's look back at what we've done so far. Let's kind of look at the things we've noticed maybe. Okay, with our first problem, this is kind of, we've already kind of solved it and stuff, but this 250 represented the what? Samples. This negative 25 represented the samples. This 50 represented samples. Okay, the H was the only thing that was different. I'm going to highlight that a different color. Did you see how I have two quantities? Okay, one's samples or one's hours. Okay, let's look at this one. What was the 12?
The 12 was
Car washes.
Car washes. It was
Money.
Car washes.
And then $50 was what?
money.
Money. And $100 was?
Money.
Money.
So they
So,
all need to be like the same type of thing.
except for the variable. Okay, you see how I have two things in this problem? If we were doing the algebra tiles, I would have rectangles and I would have squares. Okay, so when you're writing your situation, for example, don't do this. I have 12 packs of cookies and I subtract 50 cans of tuna and it's more than or equal to $100. Do you see how I have different quantities?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you need two. All of these need to be the same, and then you need to have something else. Okay, keep it simple, because we don't have a whole lot of time. So what I want you to do, and this is important that we have some instructions. On your sheet of notebook paper, as a group, you're going to brainstorm out your scenario, and I want everybody writing it on your piece of paper, okay? 5 pieces of candy gets passed out at lunch, because you're saying each period, that sounds like 75's going to this period, 75's going to this period. So y'all need just a block of 75.
This is what I have.
Yeah, 75.
The school is trying to give away at least 225 pieces of candy to the 7th grade. Thank you. 75 pieces of themselves. Each class gets 50 pieces of candy. How many classes?
Okay, that's not too bad. That's the 75 pieces for themselves. Who is it? The school is going to keep it? You see what I'm saying? You might need to say like the student council, but. Okay, how's that coming? And you can probably pause it. Abby, you can probably pause it. Start with 1. Okay, who's group 1? This group over here. Okay, so everybody else, y'all are going to write the inequality to match this situation. We're going to see if it actually matches their card. Okay, so I'll read it, or you can read it on your iPad. A mother and her children have at least, I love those keywords, at least $32 to spend on tickets. Each ticket costs $5, but one of her daughters wants to go on a $7 roller coaster ride. Maybe it's really a special ride. Here's the question: how many tickets can she buy? Okay, we're going to see if it matches. Have at least $32. Do they have more than $32?
Yeah.
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5T plus 7.
Let's not
And yours
use
is,
T. I'm gonna
yours
use
is
that.
written differently. That's okay. It has the thing on.
I'm doing 5T plus 5T plus 7.
I've checked in with everybody. Let's see if y'all agree. Group 1, do y'all agree that this is what we said? Anthony, tell me again what y'all got.
5T plus 7 is greater than or equal to 32.
Okay, let me catch up here. I'm in white here. Okay, so I'm going to just do it up here. Oh, big O fat pen. 5T plus 7 is greater than or equal to 32. Does that match y'all's card?
Yeah, except the T.
Except the T, what did y'all use? S. And why is it important maybe not to use
Because
T?
it looks like a plus sign.
Very good. Looks like a plus sign. Okay, good job, group 1. Y'all give them a high five or clap. Yeah, yay, group 5. Okay, quickly, let's do group 2. Okay, so does that kind of make sense? So in summary, is it important to pay attention to those keywords in writing and inequality?
If you didn't have the keywords, you wouldn't know what to do.
Exactly. And it's also important to know which one is your variable and what you're looking for. Okay, you can go ahead and put your notebook paper in your binder. The writing inequality